Let's round up some of the news and rumors after the Zach Wilson trade, what this means for the Broncos in the upcoming NFL draft. Now, let me open up by giving just my final thoughts on the Zach Wilson trade. It's a low-risk deal. If it doesn't work out for whatever reason, Denver's not out an arm or a leg or anything. It's a day 3 pick swap. A low price for a highly gifted quarterback, a guy that's got an arm that just doesn't come around in every single NFL draft. Now, there are some obvious weaknesses to Zach Wilson's game that needs to be coached up on, especially his inability to get rid of the football and his low, I don't want to say IQ because that seems like a personal attack, but his football IQ at reading defenses. He just doesn't make great decisions with the ball in his hands. But my overall thoughts are this fan base has been through hell and back when it comes to the quarterback position ever since Peyton Manning retired. And Zach Wilson, it just feels like a big burn to this fan base. That I know you guys have had some bad quarterback play, but how do you like a Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson quarterback competition? I fully expect Denver to draft a quarterback, but still, if another team made this deal like the LA Rams, I feel like the reception would be so much different. Oh, he gets to sit behind Matthew Stafford, maybe learn a little bit more. Whereas in Denver, he's actually going to be competing for the starting job. And that's not a very assuring thing for the fan base, knowing Zach Wilson might emerge as the best quarterback. And that's not saying a whole lot about Zach Wilson. It's saying a whole lot about the other quarterbacks in that room. So I feel bad that this fan base has to try and wrap their minds around Zach Wilson working out. Sean Payton has done a lot of great things for other quarterbacks. Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe he can do something with Zach Wilson. I would not hold your breath, though. Now, who do you think the Week 1 starter will be? I'm going to go with Jarrett Stidham. You can go with Zach Wilson. You can go with the rookie. I don't think there's a wrong answer. And I don't think any NFL fan base or just any NFL organization at this stage in the calendar has been so wide open to who their starting quarterback could be. A lot of times teams know they're going to draft a rookie and that guy's going to be the starter. But that's not even the case in this situation here. It could be Stidham, could be Wilson, could be a rookie. Now let's talk about some of the rumors after the Zach Wilson trade. Dianna Ruissini from The Athletic tweeted out, "So what does this mean for Denver in this upcoming draft? Expect the Broncos to continue working behind the scenes to see if they have enough to move up in the draft for a QB. Otherwise, all other options are on the table. I was told this front office is exploring it all." Question number 1 is, can Denver find a trade partner? They have the means to move up. They could give up their next 2 first-round picks, and that would be enough. It's identical to what the 49ers did to move up and get Trey Lance. So they could theoretically pull this off. But is there a team towards the front of the draft order that wants to move back? We got the Arizona Cardinals GM, Monty Ossenfort, saying the number 4 overall pick is open for business. And the Cardinals did some wheeling and dealing last year with the Houston Texans. They landed with Paris Johnson. It seemed like a really good deal for the Arizona Cardinals, getting a new franchise left tackle and acquiring a first-round pick this year, as they have 2 first-round picks. So I wouldn't put it past Arizona to try and make some moves and acquire more draft capital, because they don't need a quarterback. They've got Kyler Murray. But will there even be a quarterback worth trading up for at number 4? What if QBs go 1, 2, and 3, and Denver isn't enamored by JJ McCarthy or Drake May or Jaden Daniels, whoever falls to number 4, for the Broncos to give up 2 future firsts? Then we got the Patriots at number 3. And this one is a lot more appetizing because you are guaranteed to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks. So Dianna Ruissini tweeted out, "The New England Patriots are listening and taking calls from teams looking to move into number 3. While Elliott Wolf is running point, I'm told Patriots president Jonathan Kraft is heavily involved in the decision making. And I've heard that Robert Kraft, he wants to go get a young quarterback." So we got some draft rumors on the Patriots and the Cardinals open for business, which does not mean they're going to trade their pick for sure, but just that they want teams to know, send in a great offer. And if you give us an offer we can't refuse, we may very well take you up on it. Ultimately, I think the draft right now kind of runs through New England. We know what the Bears are going to do at 1 with Caleb Williams. The Patriots, I beg your pardon, the Commanders at 2 or 3, they seem to be locked in on Jaden Daniels. But once we get to New England, that's when doors start opening up because the Patriots could trade out, whereas the Commanders, they're not going anywhere. They're staying put at 2 and taking a QB. But if the Patriots trade out, who could move up and what kind of domino effect could that start? Like, even if the New England Patriots trade out of pick number 3, because let's say they know it's Drake May for them or Jaden Daniels, whichever guy that the Commanders pass on, and they don't love that player so much that they would turn down a Bryce Young type of trade offer, multiple firsts, a player maybe, a second and a third for a guy they think is not worth all that, then they could trade back. Let's say it's the Vikings, for example, that trade up from 11 to 3. That's been like the heavily discussed trade idea. Well, then the Patriots go back to 11. And this is where things get a little bit more complex. You've got New England at 11 and Denver at 12. Who's ruling out the Patriots trading back up to go get like JJ McCarthy? And if that's what their goal is, how are the Broncos going to put together a better trade offer when New England is 1 pick ahead of them and they just got a boatload of assets from the Vikings after they made a trade to move up to number 3? So for me, I think a trade back is more likely for the Broncos. I just don't see a way they outbid other teams to move up. And they need 2 teams to trade back. Like, both of those things have to happen. If New England says we're staying put at 3 and we're taking Drake May or Jaden Daniels, then it's between Denver and Minnesota to get the 4th overall pick from the Cardinals. And I think the Vikings having 2 first-round picks this year will just tilt the scales way too much in their favor for Arizona to pass on. But if you do get New England and Arizona trading back, now there's 2 openings for the Vikings and the Broncos to move up. But you got to make sure the Patriots don't want to move up again. And where do you think the Chargers would rather send JJ McCarthy to at number 5? Do you think it would be the Broncos or New England on the other side of the country? I think it would be New England on the other side of the country. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, make sure to subscribe before the NFL draft. We're going to be putting videos out for every single pick that Denver makes. So I don't want you to miss a single thing for the upcoming NFL draft. We're also trying to get to 21.5 thousand subscribers here on the channel. So lock yourself in for the best Broncos draft content. Now let's go down the rabbit hole of Denver trading back. Here are the next 10 teams in the NFL draft. Not all of them strike me as obvious trade-up candidates. The Colts really want Brock Bowers, so that could be an option. Maybe Seattle. I don't think Jacksonville is moving up. I think they're going to stay put. The Bengals could be an option if they were to trade T. Higgins. What if they wanted to move up to go get their T. Higgins replacement? You got the Rams at 19, back in the first round. Clap it up for LA. The Steelers at 20, I think are going to... Sorry, I get hiccups all of a sudden. I think they're going to stay at 20. The Dolphins at 21. Maybe they move up to get Byron Murphy to replace Christian Wilkins. And then you got the Eagles at 22. And Howie Roseman has been busier on draft day than any other GM has been over the last 3 to 4 years. So my 2 trade ideas are the most likely ones, I think, are the Philadelphia Eagles, if they really want to go get Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell, because they feel like, and they kind of do have this right to feel this way, they are 1 DB away. They would give up pick 50 in round 2 to jump up 10 spots. Another trade idea would be the Rams. The word on the street is LA wants to go offensive line. Remember the 10 teams we just looked at? A lot of those teams want to go offensive line. So the Rams could leapfrog them all to go get their number 1 offensive lineman and just forfeit their 52nd overall pick to the Broncos in exchange for going from 12 to 19. So if Denver is able to acquire a second-round draft pick, I think that's when you could see a Bo Nix or Michael Penix pick being made. I don't think they'd go one of these 2 guys at 19 or 22. I wouldn't rule it out. It's much more likely they go with Nix or Penix at that spot than at 12. Although if they're that certain about Nix or Penix, I don't think they would roll the dice on them being available 8 picks later. I mean, how much of a PR war are you really winning if you get him at 19 versus 12? Just go get your guy if you think he's your guy. But I think they may look to add to another part of their roster at 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever, and then circle back to one of these players in round number 2. I prefer Penix. He's been one of my favorite quarterbacks since the beginning of this draft process. I remember having him ahead of JJ McCarthy when the NFL draft process really kicked off after the college football season wrapped up, which I know sounds crazy right now, but are we just going to forget about the games we all watched in the fall? Did anyone feel like McCarthy was putting up better stats or numbers or just plays than Penix was? I'm not going to forget that. I know that JJ's got some great intangibles and the way he can run a pro-style offense, yada, yada, yada. I think Penix is a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy. So I believe Bo Nix probably fits the criteria of what Sean Payton is looking for in a quarterback more. If I were calling the shots, it would be Penix. But I'm not. And I think Payton would rather go with Bo Nix. So if you had to pick a quarterback, let me know. Nix or Penix? Get in the comment section below. What are we thinking here? I prefer Michael Penix, and he's been a late riser in this NFL draft process where I think it was Dianna Ruissini who said a handful of GMs call him like the hidden gem, the best kept secret in this NFL draft. And they think he could sneak all the way into the late stages of round number 1. I don't think either guy goes round 1. I'm sticking by that. But I would be, much more on board with going with them in round number 2 after getting a much more surefire type of player in round 1. All right, that will do it for us on this first edition of the Broncos Breakdown. It's draft week, so we're going to be pumping out content like crazy. So make sure to subscribe and get your noties on. That way you don't miss a video for your favorite team.